Welcome to Hilary Emmanuel Ministries, where faith meets power, purity and prosperity, and breakthroughs are born. At Diadem, we equip you with bold prayers, life-transforming teachings, and spiritual strategies to overcome every challenge life throws your way. Join us as we dive into God's Word, experience His presence like never before, and walk in His purpose for our lives. If you're in London, we invite you to fellowship with us in person at Diadem, 4 Pegamoid Road, N18 2NG. Don't forget to subscribe now and let's grow in faith together.
Brethren, we struggle day by day in our different endeavors. We struggle to fulfill our dreams in life. We struggle to succeed. We struggle to achieve our life aspiration. And in doing that, don't just focus on your struggle on physical things alone. Be very sensitive in the spirit around you, everything going on around you. Be very active in the spirit. Be vigilant. That's what the Bible counsels us. Say be vigilant, be careful, be active in the spirit. Because more things happen spiritually around us than the ones that happen physically. And if all your attention is on physical things, you will be so badly affected by the spiritual things. The enemies that do not want us to succeed, the enemies that do not want us to achieve anything, they don't operate physically, they operate spiritually. And that's why it is difficult most times to know them. That's why we operate, we go around as if everything is fine. And where there is no such vigilance and there is no spiritual sensitivity about things around us, you see that so many things will be undermining all our efforts, undermining and frustrating all our struggles. We will go back and blame God for it. We will go back and become angry with God. But it's not the problem of God. It's just because we are not watchful. We are not watchful. And that's why the kind of prayers we want to pray here today, I want to talk to you about what I call had Absalom known. You know, sometimes we use that language, had I known. Had I known is not a good language. It's a language of regret. It's a language that always comes when defeat has happened already. When bad thing has happened already, is when that language is used. Had I known. Which means the whole thing was all this while right before your nose, but you didn't know. The whole thing was all this while right before your face, you were staring at it, but you didn't know. And so when the whole thing now unfolds, that's when the language comes and say, had I known. You can as well say, had I known, had my family known, had Diadem known. Because this is a language that a lot of people use a lot. And I'm going to show you a case study. A case study. That's why I've chosen Absalom as a case study. Listen, of all the children of David, Absalom was the most ambitious among all of them. Because from his childhood, if you look at his story, the brief things written about him, he was so focused in life to the point that when he judged the way he was going in life that he could die and had no child and so on, he had to go and make a memorial for himself, erected a pillar, a pole, and named it the pillar of Absalom, so that his name will not perish from the earth. That's how ambitious that young man was. He was the only one that had his eyes on the throne, even though he was not the firstborn. But he had his eyes on the throne and he was ready to overthrow David. That young man was so desperate, and he worked meticulously towards achieving his goal. Just like many of us are working meticulously now. But one thing was, he didn't know so many things. Had Absalom known. Let's look at 2 Samuel. 2 Samuel 15. Look at verse 1. I want you to follow me carefully, because we have a lot to learn here. 2 Samuel 15 verse 1. And it came to pass after this, that Absalom prepared him chariots and horses. Do you see his preparation? Do you see his investment? Brethren, to buy chariots that time, to buy horses, not a joke. So what he did literally here was, he started to recruit his own army. He had his own army, he purchased his own weapon, ready for war. That's how far Absalom went. We can be doing all this investment in the physical. We can be thinking we are very brilliant in our head. We are very intelligent in everything we do. But very minor thing can undermine everything we have invested and cause serious destruction. Had Absalom known what was around him. Now let's continue. So he prepared 50 men to run before him. So he has prepared what we call the presidential guard. The presidential guard. So that anywhere Absalom is going, he has chariots and horses and 50 soldiers guiding him. His entourage was made ready. Verse 2. And Absalom rose up early and stood beside the way of the gate. And it was so that when any man had and a controversy came to the king for judgment, Absalom called unto him and said, Of what city art thou? Do you see what he was doing? He went and positioned himself at the gate of the king's house. If you want to come to the king to say, I want to come and report my case, Absalom will corner you and say, what's your problem? What do you want? And the man had controversy, and Absalom comes and said, what city art thou? And he said, thy servant is one of the tribes of Israel. Verse 3. And Absalom said unto him, See, thy matters are good and right, but there is no man deputed of the king to hear thee. Right here we tell him, you have good case. Do you see now? Very good case you brought to the king, but nobody is going to give you judgment now. Verse 4. Absalom said, Moreover, oh, that I were made judge in the land, that every man which had any suit or cause might come unto me, and I will do him justice. So he started to appoint himself as the judge. And it was so that when any man came near, anybody that came near to him, to bow down to him, to make obeisance to him, he will grab them and will not allow them to kneel down. And took him. And do you see how he was working on this? Verses. And on this manner did Absalom do to all Israel that came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the heart of all the men of Israel. Everybody loved him. Others are still doing, I'm a prince. What is that? Doing prince and up and down. Absalom will grab them and be kissing them like Arafat. So this is how everybody. So when you visit the king's palace, when we are going home, we are talking about Absalom. A nice man, a very humble prince. The Bible says he stole the whole heart of the whole men of Israel. Verse 7. And it came to pass after, are you following me?
Yes, sir.
After
40.
he worked on that project for 40 years. Listen carefully to me, brethren. I want you, as I'm calling Absalom, I want you to begin to call your name inside that place, so that you personalize this message, so that you'll be able to see how this message affects you. For 40 years, this young man diligently planned his work out. For 40 years, he worked on this project, and everything was going smoothly. My servant vowed a vow while I abode at Goshen in Syria, saying, If the Lord shall bring me again indeed to Jerusalem, then I will serve the Lord. And the king said unto him, Go in peace. The king didn't know. Had the king known? I told you that had I known happened to everybody. Had the king known? Had David known? David just said, well, if you want to go and pay vow, that's a good thing. My son is spiritual. My son is fearing God, he's serving God, he's paying vow to God. Go and do it, go in peace. So he arose and went to Hebron. Verse 10. But Absalom sent spies throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, As soon as you hear the sound of the trumpet, then you shall say, Absalom reigneth in Hebron. After 40 years, it was time for him to declare himself the king. And he has planned everything out. So you can see, brethren, that humanly speaking, Absalom's plan were working according to plan. Everything was just falling into shape. You know, you can be planning your life like that too. For the past 40 years, you have been working everything, and you have been investing, and you have been planning, you have been showing humility, you have been serving God, doing everything, and everything seemed to be falling in shape. That's what Absalom was doing. And the time now has come for him to declare. Now look at what follows. 11. And with Absalom went 200 men out of Jerusalem that were called. He invited 200 people from Jerusalem, and they went in their simplicity, and they knew not. Those ones did not even know why they invited them. Had they known. When we started this ministry newly, there was something I was always telling people. I said, look, when you get to any place, church, crowd, to walk everywhere, don't throw yourself into everybody. Don't make friends anyhow. Keep to yourself. Focus on what you came here to do. Because everybody came with different agenda. People came with different. Now, these 200 people, they invited them. They didn't know the reason for the invitation. They just went. Verse 13. No, sorry. Verse 12. And Absalom sent for Ahithophel, the Gilonite, David's counselor. Why must he go and collect David's counselor? Had Ahithophel known. So he had sent for Ahithophel from his city, even from Gilo, while he offered sacrifices, and the conspiracy was strong. Had David known that conspiracy was strong going on against him, you will be doing your own thing, praying and struggling, trying to fix things, not knowing that the satanic conspiracy very strong. David was not aware. Joab didn't know. All his army and soldiers didn't know. The intelligence didn't know. Nobody got any information. No dream. Not even Prophet Nathan. Nobody picked it up. The conspiracy was very strong. Now look at what followed. For the people increased continually with Absalom. Everybody was coming, joining the camp. Verse 13. And there came a messenger to David, saying, the hearts of the men of Israel are after Absalom. Everybody have departed from you. They are following Absalom now. And David said unto all his servants that were with him at Jerusalem, arise, let us run away, let us flee. For we shall not else escape from Absalom. Make speed to depart, lest he overtake us suddenly and bring evil upon us and smite the city with the edge of the sword. He said, let us run. So David packed his load and ran away from Jerusalem for Absalom. Verse 15. And the king's servant said unto the king, behold, thy servants are ready to do whatsoever my lord the king shall appoint. They were asking David, should we go and fight him? Should we go and declare war against Absalom? So David now, the king went forth and all his household after him, and the king left 10 women which were concubines to keep the house. And the king went forth and all the people after him and tarried in a place that was far off. The king ran away, abandoned the throne, abandoned the kingdom, abandoned everything. Do you see that the coup has worked? The coup d'etat has worked successfully. Absalom has overthrown David. But there are things had Absalom known. Sometimes it's not just the physical success that matters. It's not the physical speed that matters. Then everything, you are going on speed, everything is succeeding for you. There are things going on in the spirit realm that you need to be aware of too. But unfortunately, Absalom did not have that one. He did not have that one. Now look at what follows. Verse 18. And all his servants passed on beside him, and all the Cherethites, and all the Pelethites, and all the Gittites, 600 men which came after him from Gath, passed on before the king. These are bodyguards, these are securities for the king. They all ran away together. Verse 19. Then said the king to Ittai, wherefore goest thou also with me, with us? Return to thy place and abide with the king, for thou art a stranger and also an exile. Whereas thou camest but yesterday, thou and I this day make thee go up and down with us. Seeing I go whither I may not return thou, I may return thou and take back thy brethren. Mercy and truth be with thee. And Ittai answered the king and said, as the Lord liveth, and as the king liveth, surely in what place the king shall be, whether in death or life, even there also will thy servant be. And David said to Ittai, go and let's go. And Ittai the Gittite passed over, and all his men, and all the little ones that were with him. Verse 23. And all the country wept with a loud voice. Had I known, always come with weeping. Had I known. Had David known all this while that Absalom was plotting this behind his back, he would have taken care of him now. He would have sorted him out since. Had I known, always come with weeping. Now look at what followed. So all the people wept, the whole country wept with a loud voice, and all the people passed over, and the king also himself passed over the brook Kidron, and passed over the people over towards the way of the wilderness. Verse 24. And lo, Zadok also and all the Levites were with him, bearing the ark of they carry even the ark of the covenant. And they set down the ark of the Lord, and Abiathar, even Abiathar the priest, went up. On all these people didn't hear any news. It didn't enter anybody's ear. Nobody picked it up. Listen carefully to me, brethren. We could have person like Absalom inside the church that will be undoing the church in the spiritual realm, and the church will be completely blind to it, and the church will not know or pick it up in any form or manner. Because how will Abiathar be there? How will all these people be there? And nobody saw any dream. Not even the prophet picked anything up. And the king said unto Zadok, carry back the ark of God into the city. He said, take the ark back. If I shall find favor in the eyes of the Lord, he will bring me again and show me both it and his habitation. But if he does say, I have no delight in thee, behold, here I am, let him do unto me as seemeth good unto him. The king said, you can see David's tone. You can see the tone of David. He said, let God do what he wants to do with me. With all the love he has for God. One, some part of his heart is blaming God, and some part is not blaming God. And all this kind of, that's always what comes with, had I known. To Zadok the priest, are not thou a seer? What did he see? The country seer. He didn't see anything. Not even in parable, self. Assuming he even saw something in parable, he will say, I saw it, but I didn't understand it. And it's so interesting that the Bible repeats, he said, are you not the country seer? Return into the city in peace, and your two sons with you, Ahimaaz thy son, and Jonathan the son of Abiathar. Verse 28. See, I will tarry in the plain of the wilderness, until there came word from you to satisfy me. I told you one thing, brethren. You might be busy in the physical setups. You are investing here, you are working out this one, you are putting mathematics in place, you are putting geography in place, and all those things. If you don't put the spiritual also in place, and watch what is going on around your mathematics and geography in the spiritual realm, it could cause trouble. Do you see what David started to do here? Let's go. David sent the seer back to Absalom and attached two boys to him. He said, I will tarry here. You be feeding me with information. Verse 29. Zadok therefore and Abiathar carried the ark of God again to Jerusalem, and they tarried there. And David went up by the ascent of Mount Olive, and David started to weep and went up. I told you that weeping comes with had I known. Had David known that Absalom is this kind of person, and had his head covered, and he went up barefoot. All the people that was with him covered every man his head, and they went in as they went up. Ahithophel is among the conspirators with Absalom. And David said, take note now. David said, O Lord, I pray thee, turn the counsel of Ahithophel into foolishness. Had Ahithophel known that there's somebody praying against him, you know, we might be like this, you don't know who is praying against you. You don't know who is wishing you negative things in their mind and their heart. You don't know who is, when you pray here, when we pray, you don't know who is going behind and praying something negative against your prayers. And Ahithophel will just think that, well, the gift is in me. Wisdom is there. Anybody I counsel, that's the end. I have the capability. Nobody can take that away from me. Not knowing that somebody has started to pray against him and pray against that gift and pray against that capability inside him. Just one single prayer point. One single prayer point. Assuming that night had Ahithophel known, prayed one single prayer point also, that every man praying against me. Do you see that? Because they were all dealing in the physical. They were not minding spiritual aspect of the whole plot. Now look at what follows. 32. And it came to pass that when David was come to the top of the mount where he worshipped God, behold, Hushai the Archite came to meet him with his coat rent and earth upon his head. Unto whom David said, if you go with me now, you are going to be a burden to me. But go back to the city and say to Absalom, I will be your servant, O king, as I have been thy father's servant hitherto, so will I also now be thy servant. Then, are you following me? Yes. Then what is the assignment of Hushai? You are going to help me to defeat the counsel of Ahithophel. I said to you, do you see what is going on at the background? These are the things we are going to pray against here today. So that, when these people will come to Absalom, he will be so happy. See, Hushai here is with us. This one is with us. This one is with us. See, the whole Israel, we are a whole multitude. Not knowing that the enemy, David, has positioned human beings, attached human beings to him and to his helpers. And that's how the enemies operate. They will attach human beings, human enemies, to the helpers. And helpers like Ahithophel, helpers like those who are faithful to Absalom, they attach human, like Hushai now, they attach Hushai. They say your work is to defeat the counsel of Ahithophel. These are the spiritual operations going on at the background. Let's see how they played it out. He said, remember, you have with you there Zadok and Abiathar the priest. 2 of them are there with you. So 3 of you now with their children. Therefore it shall be that whatsoever thou shalt hear out of the king's house, thou shalt tell it to Zadok and Abiathar the priest. And behold, they have there with them the 2 sons. Only 5 people in the whole midst of the crowd of Israel were able to tumble the whole plan of 40 years. The whole thing Absalom labored for 40 years to set up. He has succeeded literally. The king has abandoned the throne for him. All he needed to do was just to move easily to the palace and start ruling. But just 5 people, men, that were attached to him, that were supposed to be friends of him. People that they are both friends of Absalom and friends of David. They are friends of diadem and friends of witchcraft. Friends of the children of God and friends of darkness. And if nobody pick it like Abiathar, like all these priests that they see that didn't see anything, if nobody saw anything, it will lead to this kind of crying, had I known. He said you have them there. So verse 7. So Hushai, David's friend, came into the city, and Absalom came into Jerusalem. Absalom has entered Jerusalem himself. They've left Hebron. They've moved to the capital, to the throne. He has taken over the throne. He has started ruling. But had he known of the plot, had he known of the human beings that surrounded him, had he known of the people that his father has planted. 2 Samuel 16, look at verse 15. 2 Samuel 16, verse 15. And Absalom and all the people of the men of Israel came to Jerusalem, and Ahithophel with them. And it came to pass, when Hushai the Archite, David's friend. Do you see how the Bible describes it? David's friend, Absalom's friend. Do you see what we are talking about? So sometimes you can come to a church and this one is my friend, my friend, my friend, my friend. But that person is also Satan's friend. That person is also witchcraft friend. So David's friend came to Absalom and was come unto Absalom. Hushai said unto Absalom, God save the king. And Absalom said to Hushai, is this thy kindness to thy friend? Absalom even knew that is the friend of David. That's why wentest thou not with thy friend? Why did you not go with him? And Hushai said unto Absalom, nay, but whom the Lord and his people and all the men of Israel chose, him will I be, and with him will I abide. He's the one that brought it. Absalom has never called the name of the Lord before. He's the one that brought Lord. They are more spiritual than you. And again, whom should I serve? Should I not serve in the presence of his son? As I have served in thy father's presence, so will I be in thy presence. Verse 20. Then said Absalom to Ahithophel, give counsel among you what we shall do. And Ahithophel said unto Absalom, go in unto thy father's concubine, which he has left to keep the house, and all Israel shall hear that thou art abhorred of thy father. Then shall the hand of all that are with thee be strong. Verse 23. And the counsel, verse 23, the counsel of Ahithophel, which he counseled in those days, was as if a man had inquired at the oracle of God. That's the kind of advice you get from Ahithophel. As if God is speaking to you directly. That's special capability. But he didn't know of the plot. Had he known that these things don't stop by just gifts. It does not stop with just anointing. It does not just stop by everything spirit, all these kind of physical things. so was all the counsel of Ahithophel, both with David and with Absalom. But had Ahithophel known that David has prayed against him. No, he didn't know about that one. He didn't know that David has prayed, has pronounced some things against his wisdom and against his gift and against his operation. You don't know who is praying at the background against you and praying against your prayers and praying against everything God is planning to do in your life. Ahithophel was not conscious. He didn't know that. 2 Samuel 17. Look at verse 1. He said, moreover, Ahithophel said unto Absalom, let me now choose out 12,000 men. Do you see? He said, let's finish this case now. Let's delete David. Let's choose 12,000 men, and I will arise and pursue after David this night. And I will come upon him while he is weary and weak-handed, and will make him afraid, and all the people that are with him shall flee, and I will smite the king only. And I will bring back all the people unto thee. The man whom thou seekest is as if all return, so all the people shall be in peace. Verse 4. And the saying, the counsel of Ahithophel, the Bible says, it pleased Absalom well. Absalom was happy with it. And all the elders of Israel, they were happy with it. Verse 5. Then said Absalom, call now Hushai. Had Absalom known. Because you don't know who is who. You trust even your enemies. You take counsel from your enemies. Had Absalom known that Hushai was not his friend, he said, well, let's hear from Hushai. He said, call Hushai. Hushai was come to Absalom, has spoken after this manner. What shall we do after his saying? If not, speak thou. And Hushai said unto Absalom, the counsel that Ahithophel has given is not good at this time. These are the ones that have started to throw confusion into a smooth running progress, because that's what they planted them there to do. He said, it is not good at this time. He said, for said Hushai, thou knowest thy father and his men, that they be mighty men, and they be chaffed in their mind, as a bear robbed of her whelps in the field. And thy father is a man of war, and will not lodge with the people. Behold, he is hid now in some pit, or in some other place. And it will come to pass, when some of them be overthrown at the first, that whosoever heareth shall say, there is a slaughter among the people that follow Absalom. Verse 10. And he also that is valiant, whose heart is as the heart of a lion, shall utterly melt. For all Israel knoweth that thy father is a mighty man, and they which be with him are valiant men. Therefore, I counsel that all Israel be generally gathered unto thee, from Dan even to Beersheba, as the sand that is by the sea for multitude, and that thou go to battle in thy own person, go and fight by yourself. So shall we come upon him in some place where he shall be found, and we will light upon him as the dew falleth on the ground. And all the men that are with him there shall not be left so much as one. We will kill all of them. Moreover, if he be gotten into a city, then shall all Israel bring ropes to that city, and withdraw it into the river, until there be not one small stone found there. And Absalom and all the men of Israel said, the counsel of Hushai the Archite is better than the counsel of Ahithophel. Now, Hushai knew what he was doing. Hushai knew he was working against Absalom. He wanted to destroy the 40 years investment. He wanted to destroy the successful ascent to the throne, because he has already descended. He was already sitting on the throne. He just wanted to overthrow him. He wanted to destroy him. And Absalom followed that counsel. Do you know sometimes too we follow the wrong counsel of our enemies that pretend to be friends? And Absalom that has never fought any battle before. David has started killing giants right from his childhood. People that have spent all their life fighting. Do you know the kind of people that follow David? Those ones from Dan, the one that has the faces like lions. Those are the ones that Absalom's fine boy wants to go and fight war with his afro hair. It was the hair that killed him. He went to that battle, he didn't come back. That's why they killed him, finished him. And who finished him? Hushai. Had he known that not everybody that surround you are your friends, especially if you are a leader, especially if you are a pastor, you have to be extremely careful. It's not everybody around you that is opening it for you, that love you. It's not everybody. Many are there for your downfall. Many are planted there, possibly from your foundation, from darkness, from different places. You have to be extremely careful. Especially people that will talk to you and talk to enemies outside. And sometimes you begin to see this handwriting on the wall. Handwriting on the wall. People that they are with you, but they have somebody else they call for prayers. They have somebody else they send their tithes to. All those kind of practice you begin to give you something that's if they let you know. The God allows you to know it. Hushai has counsel, and all of them loved it. And the Bible says, for the Lord has appointed to defeat the good counsel of Ahithophel. And how did God appoint it? By that single prayer point of David. I believe God today that even if it's one single prayer point you pray here today, the Lord shall answer that prayer point. Amen. And the Lord will overthrow all the counsel of your enemies. Amen. To the intent that the Lord might bring evil upon Absalom, verse 15. Then said Hushai unto Zadok and to Abiathar the priest. You see the group now. Only 5 of them. This one has counsel. He told the 2 priests, this is what is going on now. And the priest also does this also, and this is what I counsel, and does counsel verse 16. Now therefore send quickly and tell David, saying, lodge not this night in the plain of this wilderness, nor split Passover, lest the king be swallowed up, and all the people that are with him. Now Jonathan and Ahimaaz stayed by Enkereth. So the other 2, they positioned them where they are supposed to stay to receive the information and run. For they might not be seen to come into the city. They didn't come into the city. They stayed somewhere. And a wench went and told them. They had another messenger that would go and give them that message. And they went and told King David. Nevertheless, a lad saw them and told Absalom. But they went both of them very away quickly and came to a man's house in Bahurim, which had a well in his court. Whither they went down, they entered the well. And the woman took the spread covering over the well's mouth and spread ground corn up thereon. And the thing was not known. Had they known? Do you see, the thing was not known? A lot of things were not known. A lot of things has been going on that Solomon and his group didn't know. And that will be their undoing. Verse 20. And when Absalom's servant came to the woman to the house, they said, where is her? And it came to pass, after they were departed, that they came up out of the well and went and told King David, and said unto David, arise and pass quickly over the water, for thus had Ahithophel counseled against you. Then David arose, and all the people that were with him, and they passed over Jordan by the morning light. There lacked not one of them that was not gone over Jordan. And when Ahithophel saw that his counsel was not followed, he saddled his ass, he arose, he got him home to his house, to his city, and put his house in order, and hanged himself, and died, and was buried in the sepulchre of his father. Had he known that it does not end with just ability to pray alone. We have the ability to pray in this church. It doesn't end here. It doesn't end in the gift. We have a lot of gifts operating in this church. It doesn't end here. There are things we must ask God to show us. Assuming they took the time to delve into the spirit even a little bit and see who is here among us that is not our friend. Who shouldn't be here that is here among us. Assuming they were able to pray and say, who is praying against ourselves? Who is praying against our success? They will have possibly been able to undo some of these plots or counter plots. But you could see, had Absalom known, had Ahithophel known, had all the people that followed him, the whole nation known, they would not have perished. Immediately they followed, the first thing they will hear in the morning is that Ahithophel has killed himself. Disaster has happened in their camp. The next thing again, Absalom will gather himself to go and fight war. He will not come back from that war. This was a thing that has succeeded successfully before. And we are going to cry unto the Lord today. We are going to pray that everything happening behind our back that is affecting all our effort and struggle, frustrating everything we are doing, that the Lord will deliver us from them today. Amen. Let's close our eyes and begin to talk to the Lord. First of all, we are going to tell the Lord, Father, I am sorry for my foolishness. Lord, I am so sorry for my ignorance.
Thank you for watching. If this message blessed you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to join our growing community of faith. You've just listened to the sermon, but there are powerful prayers that follow. Due to social media rules and guidelines, the prayers have been removed from this video. However, you can access the full prayers and more life-changing resources by visiting www.pastorhillary.org or downloading our app, Diadem Media. If you're in the London area, we'd love to have you fellowship with us in person at 4 Pegamoid Road, N18 2NG. If you have any questions about this message, want counseling from Pastor Hillary, or wish to share your testimonies following the prayers, please leave a comment below and someone from our team will get in touch. Until next time, may God bless you abundantly and guide you in all your ways. Stay victorious.